Hello and welcome to another episode of the WEM Video Academy. Today we are going to have a look at using the import from JSON node in order to process the response of a REST API. REST APIs are very popular nowadays. They provide simple and scalable web services that can handle large volumes of data and traffic. Many REST APIs use JSON as the format for sending structured data inside a text string. Let's take this simple flowchart as a starting point. We see an interaction node and an HTTP request node sending a GET request to a web service. The request node can be called using an exit button inside the interaction node template. The status code 400 exits to an overlay node, while the default exit returns to the interaction node. Do you want to learn how to build an HTTP GET or POST request? Then look for the HTTP request node video also featured in the WEM Video Academy. We will preview the result of the flowchart first. In the interaction node, we see an expandable panel listing the value of the HTTP response session field. This field will contain the response of the GET request after making the call to the web service. We click the button and we see a large block of JSON data appearing in our panel. In order to process or parse this response, we will need the import data node from the flowchart node bar. When dragging this node into the flowchart, we can select the import format and we choose JSON for this use case. By the way, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. First, we need to define where the source data for the input comes from. This is the same HTTP response session field that we mentioned earlier. We will drag this HTTP response field into the source property of the import JSON node. Next step is to create the so-called mapping between the JSON object and the data model. Mapping is the process of linking the content of every key value pair in the JSON object to data fields in our data model. There are two ways to start this process, manually or by importing a sample. The easiest way is the sample one, but we need a sample output of the web service for that, which may not be available during our development phase. For training purposes, we will first show you how to create a manual mapping from scratch. A JSON object may contain the following three components. An object contains a key value pair of data or an array of data. A JSON object is defined by a pair of curly brackets. Every JSON mapping in WEM starts with an object. An array contains a collection of data, for instance, a list of persons. An array may contain a list of objects and may also be part of an object itself, in which case it will be a named array. A named array will be mapped to a database list in our data model. A JSON array is defined by a pair of square brackets. A literal equals one key value pair. A key value pair consists of a literal key and a value property that can be bound to a particular field in our data model. For instance, a text field, a numeric field, or a Boolean field, and we can also import date fields. We can set the required status for each pair, and we can select the desired behavior for non-required fields in case of missing data. Here we have a valid mapping structure of a JSON object to a data model. The array is mapped to a database list, and the literals are mapped to data fields inside that list. For numeric and date fields, we can set additional format properties to comply with the import format. Note that you can also map lists inside lists, in which case you will require a nested list in your database list. For large JSON objects, such as the one in our screen, it will be very time-consuming to create the mapping structure manually. For this purpose, we have the Create Mapping Example button. If we have a sample of the output available, we can copy that data and paste it inside the expression window behind this button. Triple-click your left mouse button to copy the object, then click the Create Mapping Example button, choose the option from text, and paste your copied object inside the window. After a few seconds of processing, you will see the resulting mapping structure in your dialog. It is good practice to save the mapping structure first and then open it again for the actual mapping process. Now we will start the actual mapping against the data model, in this case a list of car brands and models of an American Traffic Safety Institute. Don't forget to drag the list in the array property and then drag the corresponding list fields inside the key value pairs one by one. Since the three header fields are not part of the list, we can map those to ordinary session fields. Make sure to save your work regularly when dealing with large mapping structures. time for a test. For preparation, we will do two things. First, we will create a data grid of the mapped list. Note that this list can also be a transient list, like this one. The content of a transient list can be forwarded to a database list in a separate flowchart later on in the process. This will allow for data manipulation. The header fields can be displayed like this inside a table. Second, we will reroute the GET request flow to the import node and let the import node return to the interaction node. Let's preview the flowchart. We will call the web service, and after a short while we see the data grid being filled with the mapped content from the HTTP response field. This includes the header fields. We have now concluded a successful import of a JSON object into our data model. And that concludes our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your feedback in the comments below and share the video with your colleagues and friends. We hope to see you soon again in the WEM Video Academy.